Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Cozy Chat, an easy English podcast where you can learn English in a fun and natural way. I am your host, Maria, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about Halloween. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, and I am so excited to talk about it. We are going to be talking about how Halloween is celebrated in the United States and also around the world. There are many other countries that celebrate Halloween in different ways and that also have very similar traditions as Halloween, but they are different holidays for those countries. When many people think of Halloween, they think of costumes, scary things, and children asking for candy. But Halloween actually has a deep tradition and is celebrated in different ways all around the world. So today we are going to be talking about how Halloween is celebrated in the United States and also in other countries around the world. Many countries don't celebrate Halloween directly, but they have similar holidays around the same time that has similar traditions to Halloween. Let's start by talking about how Halloween is celebrated in the United States. In the United States, Halloween is one of the biggest holidays of the year. Now it seems like there are just as many Halloween decorations sold in stores as Christmas. People decorate their houses for Halloween during the whole month of October. The typical colors for Halloween are orange and black, and the typical decorations are pumpkins, spiders, spider webs, ghosts, monsters, witches, and skeletons. Basically, anything that is scary is a good Halloween decoration. One of my favorite Halloween decorations is a jack-o'-lantern. A jack-o'-lantern is a pumpkin, and what you do is you carve means to cut, you carve out a face of the pumpkin, and you cut a hole in the top. So you can open the pumpkin and take out all the seeds that are inside and place a candle inside after you carve the face, and it glows. It always is really fun to make, and I just think they always look really cool. There can even be jack-o'-lantern contests where people who are very, very good at cutting and making these jack-o'-lanterns can enter their jack-o'-lantern and try to win a prize. Some of them are absolutely incredible. On Halloween night, children dress up in all kinds of costumes. Sometimes they are scary and sometimes they are not. They could be something scary like a skeleton or a witch, or maybe something not scary like a cartoon character or a princess. So in the evening of Halloween, the kids walk from house to house and they ring the doorbell or knock on the door. And when the person opens the door, they say, "Trick or treat," which typically means that if you don't give them a treat, then they are going to play a trick on you. But that never really happens. The thing is that the kids say trick or treat, and the person at the house gives them candy. And the kids go from house to house all around their neighborhood or their town until they have a bucket that is full of candy. They typically walk around with these jack-o'-lantern buckets, which are made of plastic. And by the end of the night, the kids have this bucket absolutely full of candy. It's really fun to walk around the streets this night and to see everyone's costumes. It's not only the children that dress up either. A lot of time adults do either just to hand out candy to the kids, or many people like to have Halloween parties where everyone comes dressed up and there are Halloween themed foods and snacks and drinks, and it's always really fun. Halloween is a really fun and happy holiday, even though it's kind of meant to be scary. There are some things that really can be scary about Halloween. One of them is haunted houses. Some people decorate one part of their house or maybe their whole house or a building with really scary decorations and things. And they may even have people inside the house who are dressed up like monsters or witches or ghosts or anything scary. And as people walk through the house, these people jump out at them and scream and scare the people who are walking through the haunted house. So a haunted house is something that you generally go to, you wait in line, and you take turns walking through the house, usually with a group of friends. Sometimes they can be silly and fun, but other times they can be really scary. I have been in some really scary haunted houses, and I just get very scared the whole time that someone is going to jump out at me and scare me. I think they're fun, but sometimes I just really don't want to be scared because I always scream a lot. So, Halloween in the US is a holiday that mixes scary fun with community activities. It's always a lot of fun, and I always really look forward to it. I also really like that it is the first holiday of the holiday season. So after Halloween, there are many other holidays to come. And for me, it's just exciting knowing that there are all of these holidays coming up after Halloween. Next, let's talk about Halloween in Spain. Halloween in Spain is celebrated in different ways depending on the region where you are. But in my town where I live, it's actually really fun. The stores in the middle of the town hand out candy to the kids, and the kids and some adults get really dressed up. The main difference is that the kids in Spain put on really scary Halloween costumes, whereas in the US, people are dressed up like all kinds of things. So in the US, there may be more funny costumes or cartoon characters or whatever. But in Spain, everyone looks really, really scary. Last year, my kids were the only ones that were dressed up in non-scary outfits. just because scary stuff kind of scares them now, and that is just what they preferred to do. But they were some of the only ones without a really scary outfit on. I really do love that I live in a place that celebrates Halloween because I think I would really miss it if I lived in a place that didn't celebrate it, since it's one of my favorite holidays and I always enjoyed it so much growing up. Also, the night of Halloween here, they kind of close off the streets, and everyone is just in the streets, gathered together, having fun, and just enjoying the night being dressed up together. There is even a haunted house in my town where someone decorates their entire yard with really scary things. In Mexico, people don't celebrate Halloween as much. What they really celebrate is the Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos, which is celebrated at the same time of year. This holiday is not so much about fear, it's more about love and memory, and more than anything, remembering everyone's loved ones who have passed away. Families believe that the spirits of their relatives come back to visit them. And for that reason, they build these beautiful altars in their home. These altars can be made in all kinds of ways, but they typically have flowers, candles, food, and photographs of their relatives who have passed away. People typically make the favorite foods of their loved ones that have died. They also listen to their favorite music, and they just gather together as a family and tell stories about their loved ones and just really take a day to be together and remember all of their relatives that have passed. I truly love the idea of this holiday. I have never actually celebrated it myself, but I think I might like to start doing it because I think it is a very nice way just to remember those loved ones who have passed away. And then when someone dies in your family, at least you know that there is going to be one day of the year where you really celebrate that person and talk about them and really feel close to them on that day. In Mexico, on this day, there are also really big parades where people wear costumes and they have these big skulls that are painted. A skull is the head of a skeleton. And in Mexico, on Dia de los Muertos, they make these into really beautiful art. So, the idea behind Day of the Dead is that death is a part of life, and that can also be celebrated with joy. So now let's talk about Halloween traditions in Ireland. Ireland is actually the country where Halloween originated. Many people think that Halloween started in the US, but that's actually not true. It originated in Ireland more than 2,000 years ago. It started with a Celtic festival called Samhain, and I hope I am pronouncing that right. People believed that on this night of Samhain, the line between the living and the dead became really thin. And so, for that reason, people made bonfires and dressed up in costumes to protect themselves and scare away the spirits. Today, Halloween in Ireland is celebrated in a mix of traditional and modern ways. They still have the bonfires like they used to and is more traditional, but they have also incorporating more Halloween like costumes and play games. Some families eat a special fruit cake that is called barmbrag. And inside of this cake, people hide coins or small objects. And these objects resemble different things. For example, good luck or wealth. It can even include a ring, which would signify a future marriage. So if you get a piece of cake that has a coin in it, for example, that would mean you're going to become wealthy. Or if you get a piece of cake that has a ring in it, that means that you will get married soon. I really like the idea of this cake. I think it would be really fun. But you would have to be careful though, because I definitely would not want to be chewing a cake and bite hard into a coin or a ring. Either way, it sounds really fun. So now let's talk about Halloween in Japan. In Japan, Halloween is really a newer celebration, and it's really become popular in the last 20 years. It's really less about tradition, it's more about dressing up in really cool costumes. In Japan, people typically tend to get really into their Halloween costumes, and they can be all kinds of costumes, not just scary ones. It's actually a holiday that is more for adults and teenagers than it is for kids. The kids do not go trick-or-treating in Japan, but sometimes they block off the streets and have really big street parties where everyone shows off their costume and has a really good time. Some of the biggest Halloween parties that I've seen just in pictures is from Japan, actually. So now let's talk about Halloween in the Philippines. In the Philippines, the focus of the holiday is more about remembering those that have died, just like Mexico, but it's not celebrated in the same way. On November 1st and November 2nd, they celebrate All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. And on these days, families get together and visit the cemeteries of their loved ones who have passed away. They clean and decorate the graves of their loved ones and spend the day there all together with their family. People bring flowers, candles, and sometimes even food. Although they are visiting a cemetery, it's not necessarily a sad time. It's more about remembering and celebrating their loved ones who have passed. So many families spend the whole day in the cemetery and just enjoy their time with their family together, talking and eating and telling stories about their loved ones who have died. I also really like this holiday as it brings everyone together and helps everyone to really remember and celebrate their loved ones. On Halloween in Germany, some people hide knives and sharp objects in their house because it is traditionally thought that on Halloween, the spirits of their loved ones come in their house And people hide their knives and sharp objects so that the spirits don't hurt themselves when they're in their house. I do have to say that my husband is German, though, and he said he had never heard of this tradition. But I found it and I thought it was kind of interesting, so I wanted to share it anyway. So now for Halloween in China. Halloween is actually not celebrated in China. However, there is a similar holiday that is celebrated in the summer. It is called the Hungry Ghost Festival, and it kind of has the same idea as Halloween. During that time, people burn money to give money to the deceased and also offer food to feed them. Paper lanterns with names on them are floated in the water, and paper boats are also made to guide the way for the spirits. People avoid certain activities that day, such as swimming or even leaning on walls, as ghosts are said to be present during that time. So people are advised to be a little more careful during that time. This festival is also a time to pay respects to deceased family members. As you can see, Halloween is celebrated in different ways all around the world. Some countries have much of a more traditional approach and others more modern. And in some countries, the main focus is focused on celebrating their loved ones who have passed away. Which one of these Halloween traditions is your favorite? And I also want to know, how is Halloween celebrated in your country? Do you have any Halloween traditions that you really enjoy that I've left out? I would really love to know, so please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this episode on Halloween, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.